Hello everyone, I'm here with Gavin Harriman today to talk about our last poem,
The Incarnate Devil.
The Incarnate Devil, exactly. So Gavin, who is this one by?
This one's by none other than Dylan Thomas.
Dylan Thomas.
Thus the depressing, sad, melodramatic name.
Okay. So anything interesting in the title that you want to mention?
The Incarnate Devil is interesting because incarnate means the living form, the walking, breathing form, or if you wanted to translate it more directly, the human form. And so when it says the human form of the devil, when I looked at that poem first, or when I looked at that title first, I thought it was interesting because I thought of the walking devil.
Okay. So does that title have anything to do with the theme, or how did you
Yes. The title has to do with the theme because the theme is good and evil do coexist in the world, and we have to understand that these two factors exist, and we also have to understand that just because one person is labeled as good or evil does not. I'm trying to present this well.
So basically, they
For
coexist
example,
in human nature.
Yeah, for example, God, for example, is not solely a good being. God has aspects of evil and good in him, as portrayed by the poem. So that's part of it.
Do you have an example of that supports that claim?
Yes. In the first stanza, it says that the incarnate devil is in a talking snake, and in the shaping time, in shapes of sin, he forked out the bearded apple, which is referencing the Garden of Eden when the snake offered the apple to Eden. And at the end of the poem, it says it says that God walked in that Garden of Eden as a fiddling warden, almost as if he's a violin playing prison warden, and it says he played down pardon from Heaven's Hill. And then in the last stanza, it says that a serpent fiddled in the shaping time, which meshes all that story together to create the idea that maybe the serpent isn't that far from God, that God is the serpent that presented this sin to human beings.
All right. So did you come to that conclusion through any syntactical elements of the poem?
Yeah, there were some interesting syntactical elements. In shaping time, there's like a lot of prepositional phrases. So in shaping time, and then in shapes of sin, and then in the mighty mornings of the earth, and in sacred waters. So there's a lot of prepositional phrases there. And then also, he starts with a word that says, when we were strangers to the guided seas. So there's some syntax there, using that grammatical element. He's talking about when we had not left the Garden of Eden yet. So we're talking about our own personal Eden here.
Okay, interesting. So any specific word choice, any diction that stands out that contributes to that theme?
Well, to me, like a large tone component is, contrast between good and evil. So good and evil were obviously big components of this piece. So the word stung kind of connotes a painful connotation to there. And then forked is kind of informal, which contributes to the contrast of the whole piece, good and evil, informal, formal, that kind of thing, which was interesting.
So a contrast between tone reflects the contrast between good and evil. That's very interesting. Okay, so finally, any specific images that you want to mention to wrap this up?
Yeah, my favorite image was in the first stanza. The line is, in shapes of sin forked out the bearded apple. And that's talking about the snake giving Eden the apple. It says bearded apple, which I think is a humorous image. But when it comes down to it, it just means that the apple was in disguise. So on the outside, it looks like a tasty apple, but on the inside, it's really sinful
what
and
seemed to
evil.
have represented infinite knowledge was actually folly of man. All right. Well, last but not least, is there any specific connection that you have with this poem that you felt through any of those methods used by Thomas?
I feel through this poem I can observe life with the view that good and evil are not black and white within people. Everyone has that. There's a lot of blurred line. That there's a lot of a blurred line in between good and evil and black and white, and you know, the good guy, bad guy, that kind of thing. And so
Awesome.
it's hard to discern the two.
I like that. It's a good poem. All right. Well, thank you very much. I believe this is our last video, so.
You certainly are welcome.
But